So before I go on talking about myself, I want to start with a quote, and that's the fish that Sarah just referred to. The quote says, "Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll grow up thinking it was stupid, and useless, and worthless, and nothing." Now, how do I know? I was a fish trying to climb a tree for a while. And by a while, I mean 10 years. And by a fish, I mean a Polish girl in a society where the whole diversity thing wasn't quite yet figured out. Going back 11 years ago, I was 14 and I just moved here with my family. And out of all the incredible places in the world, my parents decided, right, that the best place to move is Dungannon, right? So we moved to Dungannon, and since I was a teenager, I had to go back to school. And what could school be like when you just moved to a strange country, you don't speak the language, your friends, your identity, the life as you know it have been all taken away from you, and suddenly you find yourself in a place full of kids you don't understand? It's not going to take you that long to come up with the answer, but in case you're still wondering, it absolutely sucks. And by that, I mean, for the first couple of years of school, I was being spoken to and treated like I had a learning disability. I was laughed at, I was bullied, even simple things, silly things, like being the last one to be picked during the PE class. On this point, though, 11 years after, I still don't understand what Gaelic is about, so I don't blame them on this one. But we can only imagine the detrimental effects experiences like this and social isolation can have on anyone, let alone a teenager at the stage of their life when you're supposed to be figuring out the world, you're supposed to be building your sense of self and sense of self-worth. Well, it's not surprising to say that I could not figure out my world. I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what my life was about, and I didn't understand why I was punished or rejected by everything and everyone around me. In fact, it was at that point in my life, only less than a year into those experiences, when I became depressed, suicidal, and bulimic. And at that point, my brain did a quick calculation and came up with a theory that said being Polish equals being different, and being different equals being rejected. Therefore, being Polish will always equal being rejected. And I did not want to be rejected. Nobody does. So I did what everyone else would do in my position after coming up to that conclusion. I did my very best to disown that part of my identity. So for years to come, I would spell my name with Y to make sure it looks more normal and that people know how to pronounce it. I would distance myself from all other Polish people and only hang out with the normal local people. I would work hard at trying to hide my accent or anything else that would show that I'm different. Who was I? I was a fish trying to climb a tree, pretending to be a monkey and hoping nobody would notice. Now, I want you to pause and I want you to imagine a fish trying to climb a tree. How ridiculous is this idea? Because we all know fish are not meant to be climbing trees. Fish are meant to be in the water, swimming. So eventually, after years of internal struggle and some sort of denial, it was time for me to realize it and get off that frickin' tree. But realizing it was one thing. Actually doing something about it was a whole new challenge, especially after years of my brain telling me that as long as I'm different, I will never be good enough, and my achievements will always be worth nothing. It was like a record stuck on repeat, playing in my head year after year after year. Passing all of my GCSEs after 2 years of living in the country was worth nothing. Getting a degree from a well-respected university and in a second language was worth nothing. Taking a risk to start my own business before I turned 25 was no accomplishment at all. Having a greater vision to be of service and help other people around me was again worth absolutely nothing. Because in my head, no matter what I did and no matter how much I accomplished in my life, I was still different. And different always meant being rejected. Just bear with me. And even now, standing on this stage, there's a part of my brain that insists on telling me that doing a TED is worth nothing. Because I don't have anything worthwhile to say and I don't have the right to stand here. But I'm choosing not to listen to that part of my brain anymore. Because the truth is, I do have the right to stand here. And the truth is, we all do. But it needs to start with embracing ourselves for who we truly are. How many of us are currently trying to climb a tree knowing that we're meant to swim? How many of us are holding ourselves back from reaching our full potential because we're too afraid of being different and consequently of being rejected? The only way to find acceptance and the only way to build a life of purpose is by embracing ourselves for who we are. We need to give ourselves permission to be who we are, because only then we can recognize the value we can bring to the world. And only then we can realize that what makes us different is, in fact, the greatest gift we can offer to those around us. For me, it was embracing being Polish and realizing how much I can help other people, even with simple things like starting Polish fitness classes that would help other Polish women who, just like me, want to belong and feel equal. The theme of tonight's event is time. And time has the power to change a lot, but at a certain point, time itself is not enough. Sometimes change needs to start with a decision. And there's one decision that I believe we should all make, and we should make it tonight. It's about time we stop being afraid of being different. The world needs our unique gifts. So get off that tree, get into the water, and watch miracles happen. Thank you.